Hello all and welcome, and I am the MGTOW philosopher, and in this video I would like to talk about Australia's choice to ban men from most frontline combat positions in favor of women. So in this story it talks about Australia banning men to boost female numbers. So essentially their idea of a good idea is to take the tons and tons of men that are applying and the much smaller number of women who are applying and only let in the women and not let in any men until the number somehow gets to a point where there's parity. Like equality? How are you going to get the army to 50% men and women? I mean, that would be a really bad idea. I mean, unless the army is just there essentially to give people jobs, where you're just pushing papers around and you're not really doing any fighting. So, yeah, okay, if there's always going to be peace, sure. And the army can just be there to be a place to deposit women, to have jobs. They breathe. They should have a job. So what are we essentially doing? Are we essentially guaranteeing every member of society a job? Are the Australians just opening all jobs to women and keeping men out so that women will always be guaranteed a job? A woman can always get a job anywhere, everywhere. This is a really, really bad idea for any number of reasons. Of course, Australians will have you believe, meaning feminists, and Australia is one of the most feminist countries in the world next to Sweden and Canada and Germany. These places will have you believe that there's no difference in women. Of course, it's all socially constructed, and the fact that women are smaller and weaker, well, that's not really true, even though it's obviously true that they're smaller. Oh, that's got to be some kind of social construct, too. And even though a 120-pound woman and a 160-pound man, well, he's going to be like twice as strong as her. But that's not true. Oh, that's made up. That's just propaganda. Men and women are equally strong, even though he'll get injured far less than her, and she'll get injured far more. And, you know, she could have a baby, get pregnant, and then she doesn't have to fight or go to war, but she'll still get paid. Yeah, and of course, when she has her period, oh, well, you know, have that sick day. Of course, if you're in the military, you're out there in the field, you have a gun you can hardly pick up because you're so freaking weak. You get your period, what are you going to do? You can't clock out. The enemy's waiting to shoot you in the head. What are you going to do? Sit in the middle of the field and the enemy's bullets are whizzing across your head? Sergeant, I don't feel good. What do you mean? The enemy's shooting at us. What do you mean you don't feel good? What are you talking about? Did you get hit? Did they hit you? Did you get hit? No, it's my time of the month. What? What the fuck do I care? Shoot him! I feel too moody. I don't feel good. What the fuck are you talking about? You're gonna die, you dumb bitch! Shoot back! Shoot back! I mean, what the fuck? Is this really what we want for our nation's military? This is really what we want for Australian military and the American military? Really? I mean, do we think there's never going to be any wars? Do we really think that there's never going to be any fighting? Does the entire Western world think that America is always going to exist and be there to save their asses so they don't have to have real militaries? They can just virtue signal to the rest of the world and say, look at us. We're so progressive, meaning regressive. We have women in combat now. Of course, we'll never have combat, so we just get to look good and look like we are so progressive. And yeah, bullshit. What nonsense. Let's see what this has to say, shall we? By now, we've all come to terms with the fact that political correctness isn't going anywhere anytime soon. In small doses, it's tolerable. Says you. I really can't stand it. That's why I left long ago. In fact, it's actually led to small improvements in a couple of areas. Tell me the areas, and then we can debate it. The problem lies in the fact that the concept of political correctness has run amok. You mean women have been allowed to run amok because feminism has given them the power to run amok. Because they control the government now and they have the vote, so they just do whatever the hell they want, and of course they're incentivized to do whatever the hell they want and act irresponsibly. I see. Virtually everything is under scrutiny at all times, and God forbid if the PC police get wind of something that sends a draft through their safe space, you mean women. Of course, then you have the white knights as well, and the pussy, mangina, male feminists. There's hell to pay when that happens. I agree, there definitely is. What with all the social justice going around, and you'll get fired from your job if you get doxxed for saying the wrong thing online, which is whatever the hell they don't like or agree with. Well, that comes with the territory in today's day and age. There's times when it goes way too far. For example, if political correctness ever outweighed the importance of national security, that would be a really bad thing. Yeah, that would be a really bad thing if we became more concerned with being PC than if, say, a foreign power invaded us and wanted to take us over. Unfortunately, there's actually an example of that happening. Yes, unfortunately. And we're not talking about the row over transgender soldiers in our nation's military either, which, by the way, they shouldn't be allowed in either. Transgenders in the military is a bad idea. Talk about breaking up unit cohesiveness, but that's another video. As Yahoo shares reports are making the rounds that Australian Defence Force staff have been told to recruit only women, including frontline combat roles, under threat of being reassigned. So you have the recruiter, which is usually a staff sergeant or something like that, sitting in the office, and he's gotten this directive that don't hire any men. If you hire a man, we're going to assign you to an outpost in Antarctica or in some shitty country where you will get botulism or diarrhea every day for the rest of your time there, or malaria, and you will die a painful death in a horrible, horrible environment if you do this. What the fuck's he gonna do? Keep hiring men? No, he's gonna hire women, of course, because he doesn't want to be reassigned to a shithole, cleaning out latrines and shit. Why would that be? Well, Yahoo reports that it's an attempt to increase the number of female soldiers in its ranks. Why would you need to do that? So this plays into this feminist belief that of institutional sexism, that essentially the governments of all Western countries are all designed and created by men, and that there's this institutional bias built into the system that holds women back, which is, of course, bullshit. It's total bullshit. And if it ever was true, it certainly isn't any longer, but it never really was true to begin with. So they believe that women aren't in the military not because they would prefer not to be, but because, they've been held back by the government and such. Oh, that they've somehow been socially and culturally conditioned to not want to be in the military. But they're just as good as a man. They can do anything a man can do, but they can do it better, right? Unfortunately, they can't. Because they got to do like 3 or 4 push-ups or something, and like 2 or 3 pull-ups, and they got to run like 2 miles, like 2 or 3 minutes slower than a man. It's like, well, hello. If you're equal to a man and you're as good as a man, you can do everything a man can do. Why can't you pass all the same tests and pass the same requirement test as a man? Oh, well, there's no answer for that. And why is it that there's the number of women applying for the military, there's so few of them compared to men? Why is that? If the military is inviting women with open arms and they're saying, we want you, but there's no women signing up. There's so few signing up that they actually have to bar men to be able to create more parity. What does that tell you? Well, that women just ain't applying because they don't want to apply. Oh, but they don't want to apply because they've been conditioned by society. There's this cultural implication. The society and the culture has, and it's fucked up their minds. It's twisted their minds to believe that they don't want to be in the military, but really they want to be in the military. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, because the way that women think and feel is all a social construct. If you took away the social constructs, they would be just like men. Okay. Why would that be? Yahoo reports. Attempt to increase the number of female soldiers in the ranks, but defense insiders aren't so sure, noting that it's political correctness gone mad. It should go man, not woman. For what it's worth, Defense Industry Minister Christopher Pine says that we are trying to encourage more to be part of that society, but there's no banning of men being recruited. Yeah, there is. In fact, this story has advanced much more since this particular story was released. It is banning of men. There's only like a handful of positions that men will be hired for, like 35 of them for women, and like the rest are like a handful for men. And with the other 35 positions, men are banned, and most of them are frontline combat positions. Interesting. Bernie Gaynor, a former Army officer and an Australian Conservative Party member, chimed in with some thoughts, saying that politically correct policies have gone beyond bonkers. Yahoo reports, this is beyond bonkers. I mean, not only are you encouraging women to join the military, which in my opinion is a bad idea to begin with, because women make inferior soldiers. Even the best, strongest, toughest female soldier is going to be about on par with the worst male soldier. So why the fuck would you hire her? Because I don't get it. Should we take solace in the fact that we're not the only nation being overrun by the PC police, or should we be very afraid for our friends down under. Close call, but we're going to choose door number 2. Yeah, this is really, really concerning for me. And let me talk about a few things. First of all, it's this false sense of security that we in the West tend to get into. We've gotten really, really complacent in believing that we're never going to have any wars again, or that if we do have wars, it's always going to be outside the country, and that it's always going to be men there, and that the women are just serving like, behind the lines, supporting the men who are going to be the ones on the front line. But this is a perfect example. Most of the jobs that men are being barred from, and that's bullshit, they say it's not barred. This story has advanced far more from when this was posted. This is like 13 days ago, almost 2 weeks. So the truth of the matter is that, yeah, men are banned. Men are banned in the majority of frontline positions, and now they're actually hiring women and only women for frontline positions. That's insanity. Are you kidding me? Can you imagine a woman getting into a bayonet fight with a fucking a Taliban fighter? He comes charging at her with a fucking bayonet. What's she going to do? She's going to scream and run away. Or she's going to try and pretend to be tough, and she'll charge and scream, and she'll die. Ah! With that little fucking woman shrill scream, and he's just going to be laughing inside as he cuts her down so easily with his fucking scimitar or whatever the hell he's carrying that he uses if he's not shooting at people. I mean, this is so crazy. And this is the problem with Western countries. Yeah, we're becoming too decadent. We're becoming too sure of our own security. And this just invites invasion. Of course, we're already being invaded peacefully as Western countries let in millions and millions and millions of fucking uneducated, strong, young, stripping lads from the fucking third world. But to say that for us to believe that we're somehow immune from being invaded by foreign countries is ridiculous. I mean, when America falls, and it will, because it's embracing too much socialism, and eventually it's going to collapse, what are these places going to do? They're not going to have the police, the universal police force there anymore to protect them. What are the Americans going to do when? What are the Australians going to do when America falls? What are they going to do? I mean, they no longer have us to subsidize them. They no longer have us there as a backstop. I mean, every Western country is now going to look like ripe pickings for all the third world nations of the world, and many of the first world ones too. And second world, yeah, they're just going to look, oh, this is some ripe for the pickings now, and they don't have America there to backstop them anymore. Let's invade, and let's expand our territory. What are you going to do then when half your fucking army is women? Who, if they want to get out of combat, they just go get fucked by their boyfriend, and once they have a baby, oh, well, she's too important now. We can't have a woman in combat if she's pregnant. Oh, no. So there you've just lost a soldier, and really she's half a soldier because one man is equal to any two of these women. It raises the question of these women are actually taking jobs from men who could do the job better. I mean, that's another problem with essentially putting women in the military. You lower the standards, you let in somebody that's half as strong, has far less endurance, who's not as durable. I mean, we were made for this shit. We've spent our entire evolutionary existence as men being bred for war. And even sometimes we don't do great at it. We get PTSD, we get mental problems, emotional problems. I mean, even we have a hard time with it. Women are in no way evolutionarily prepared for this shit. They have no evolutionary advantage in any way, shape, or form in war. They're slower. They're weaker. They're too emotional. They're slaves to their emotions. They have too many biological processes that make them susceptible to becoming essentially ineffective in combat. And yet you're going to take this person, I don't even consider her like half a man. She's like 1/10 of a man. I mean, she's so useless. These are useless soldiers. Women don't aim as well as men. Their hand-eye coordination isn't nearly as good. They don't have the abstract thinking skills of a man. They can't even read a fucking map, for God's sake. They can't even follow a fucking compass. I mean, those women that supposedly got into Ranger school, they couldn't even pass the navigation test to get into Ranger school. Are you kidding me? They can't use a map and a fucking compass, let alone aim a gun, generally speaking. And these women, I mean, they can't even kill a fucking spider. Hello? Now, granted, there are some women that are exceptions to the rule. A handful of women. Some women, they can actually pass and get into the military based on male standards, but it's a very small number. We're talking 1%, 2%. I mean, the number of women that could actually pass the male requirements to get into the military, it's a fraction. It's a fraction of the number that are actually in the military right now. And if shit hits the fan, they are not going to be able to handle it. And now Australia wants to make their fucking military 50% women. You want to make the military co-ed? Really? Because men and women are equal and the same, and there's no difference, and it's all social constructs and height and weight and bone density and muscle mass and all that, some kind of social construct, right? Not to mention the mental differences. Are you kidding me? What the fuck? This shit pisses me off. Because once you have this happen to all Western countries, once they try to do the fucking social engineering and make all their militaries 50% women, you haven't weakened your military by half. You've weakened it by more than half because you're assuming that a woman is even half of what a man is. And you're just looking at things like her physical strength, which on average is about half that of a man. But that's on average. If you take a guy who's working hard to pump himself up and be a strong soldier, he's going to be 3, 4, 5 times as strong as the average female. And you're saying that she's somehow a match for him? That she's going to be able to do the job as well as him? Not to mention the fact that he's got stronger mental fortitude. He's got greater discipline. He can handle that shit that she can't handle, that she hasn't been evolutionarily prepared for. Bullshit. She can't handle the job any way, shape, or form. It's just like women in the fucking fire department, for example. I remember seeing a video where some woman who was trying to requalify as a firefighter charged at a door to bash it down, and she couldn't break the door. And then a man had to come in behind her because they were in a line, and they were going line by line. This was like a re-breakable door, and she couldn't bust it down. So she's taking too long, and so the next guy came along, and he just tapped it with his shoulder, and it blew open. this woman, with this big fat woman, of course, big fat lady, that can barely carry her own weight, let alone the 80-pound oxygen tank that she's going to need to carry, couldn't even break the door down. But she's still a fireman, of course, because they gave her a pass. They ticked the little box off and said, it's okay. We'll let you in. We'll let you continue to be a firewoman anyway. And this is the same bullshit. It really pisses me off because if there's a war, and I still find it unfathomable that Western countries have this sense of security, that they don't think they'll ever be invaded, that they don't think there's going to be some kind of war, that they don't think they might actually have to go into actual combat, in which case these women are going to be on the front line, and half of the soldiers women. What are they going to do when they run into actual enemies, huh? I got bullets flying at them and missiles flying at them and shit blowing up everywhere. And they're having their period and got a yeast infection or something. And they got stress fractures in their fucking feet from all the training they've had to go through that the men can handle. But their bodies are too frail for it because they've been made to have fucking babies and breastfeed shit. They're not supposed to be soldiers. Look at this girl. Look at this girl in this fucking picture. That helmet doesn't even fit her. Her head is like 12 sizes too fucking small. That helmet is too big. And that's probably the smallest fucking helmet they've had. She looks like a fucking Barbie doll. Look at her body. Look at those little chicken wing shoulders and those little tiny arms. What are you talking about? She could be a soldier. She can't even do a single pull-up, I bet. Look at how tiny she is. It's pathetic. There's no meat on her bones. And the chick behind her ain't much better. I mean, she looks a little bigger, but I don't know if that's fat because she's a ardent feminist or muscle. But regardless, these chicks are skinny, chicken wing, pathetic little weaklings. And you're going to tell me that they can go into a fight and fight these low IQ Neanderthals who are 3 times their size and would bash them into the ground and then rape them 50 fucking times before they chop their head off. Yeah, you're telling me she can fight that? I don't think so. This is utter bullshit and a total denial of reality. Let's look at the real fucking world, okay? Women might be more violent than men, but they are not as strong, and they lack the strength to do any real damage. I don't care how much this chickie here trains, okay, and how emotional she wants to be, might flail about and get all violent and angry. She lacks the physical strength to follow through on it in any real way unless she picks up a fucking weapon. I mean, in some rare cases, she might fucking give a guy a black eye or something or bruise him in some way. But most guys would just shrug it off. And that's why men don't report this shit, domestic violence and such, because they just shrug it off. It's no big deal. Yeah, it is a big deal, that. But regardless, because they can't do any real damage. They can't do any real damage. And now you're going to put people who when they are violent, which is more than men, because they're so emotional, and you want that in the military anyway. This creature that is so fucking emotional, she can't control herself. And when she does flip out and lose it, she can't do damage to men. Just flailing away uselessly, and the guy's just standing there. Could you stop this chick from hitting me in the gut? She's annoying me. What? You want to put that in the military? Yeah, that's going to scare the enemy a lot. I think they're going to laugh at you, and they're going to take over your fucking country after they're finished laughing. You fools. You fools. Amazing. And these people, this is the funny thing, they're destroying themselves. And they're destroying themselves with this idiocy. This gynocentric nonsense. Yeah, let's worship the female. That little chicken wing, look at those little chicken arms, that little chicken arm thing is going to protect her country. Give me a break. I am the MGTOW philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.